Welcome to the Vermilion Podcast, a free audio library of business strategies, creative inspiration, and industry knowledge for actors, filmmakers, writers, and anyone looking to activate their creative potential. I'm Misha Calvert, a writer-director who helps artists build the careers that they dream of. I really hope that this podcast inspires you in some way. Thanks for tuning in.
I want to talk today about final bosses. What does that mean? Well, a final boss is what I call something in your life that you know you need to do. It could be a project, it could be confronting a person, something really difficult, maybe a legal matter or really tough relational matter, financial matter. Something that has been on your mind for probably a long time. It's the kind of thing that keeps you awake at night. You catch yourself thinking about in the cracks of time when your mind is just wandering, the thing that you end up ruminating on. And chances are it's really hard or really big. You know you need to do it. It's scary, it's confrontational, it's risky. Maybe it requires you to be really vulnerable or go out on a limb, take a big risk. It feels like a final boss before you can move on to the next level of the video game. And there is a lot of magic and a lot of opportunity in facing those final bosses. So if you have something or someone that you know you need to conquer in your life right now, I invite you to listen to the whole podcast, and hopefully by the end of it, you're going to have the courage to finally face that final boss. Because what's on the other side is absolutely incredible. Here's why. Final bosses aren't just manifesting on the earth plane in physical form. I believe that they're a manifestation of spiritual and energetic consciousness. So for me, I imagine that this is metaphysics. I don't know if you know this, I was raised in metaphysical study. So I grew up with this concept of energy and things being physical expressions of energetic form or spiritual form my whole life. This is how I understand the universe. But how I understand the concept of final bosses is there is going to be an energetic pattern. Could be like feeling disrespected or being neglected or discarded or something like that, feeling ostracized or, poor, like poverty can be a pattern. And it just is showing up again and again and again in your life. And I take on the view that the universe takes whatever lesson we're trying to overcome, that we just want to stop experiencing this thing, and it gives it often a human form. It puts in the clothes of a villain and says, okay, you want to battle this foe, you want to battle this nemesis, let me put it in a human form and you can actually take on this villain and you can try to defeat this boss. So it gives you a really helpful actual humanized form to go to battle with so that you can overcome this pattern. But I think it's important to not forget that whatever you're facing down, whether it's scarcity or, just basic human dignity, that it's a bigger concept. And it's not about the person who is playing the role of the antagonist at that moment. That really helps me because then I can remember that it's not as scary as I think it is. It's like, it's actually not this conflict between me and this person, for example, it's not the end of the world. It's not actually about this person. It's not about our conflict. It's about me facing the hard thing. Like, I like to think that this problem, this conflict has been given to me because I am being asked to rise to the occasion to face this hard thing so that I can move on to the next level. And that doesn't look like, like killing them, like annihilating their self-esteem or something like that. It's not about being mean or even necessarily about winning a fight. It's about, with grace and dignity and empathy for all parties, doing the thing that you know you need to do so that you can move on to the next level of your life, regardless of if it hurts them. Because again, when I come back to this metaphor of people are just taking on a role that the universe gives them, like literally like characters from a play or a movie, they're taking on that role so that I can learn something and they can learn something. When I start to think of it like that, I'm like, well, ultimately they're going to be happy that I did the thing that moves this conflict forward, because they're also trying to move this conflict forward. And if I do what I know I need to do and they do what they need to do, then we're both going to grow and learn, and it's all good, even if they're kind of pissed off at the end. So that's the sort of metaphysical explanation for these final boss moments. You don't have to believe in that. That's fine. If you don't like woo-woo, I will give you the psychological and very scientific explanation of why you need to face this final boss. So I'd like you to think about the final boss in terms of confidence. Let's say it is literally a boss at work that you need to confront in a professional way because they're not treating you well, and you need a raise and you need a promotion, and they're kind of a dick to you, and you just want to, you want a different relationship with this job and with this employer. You know it's in your best interest. You know what you deserve here. You know that even though it's going to be hard, you deserve the raise and you deserve to not be treated like shit every time you're working at this job. So if you know all that, every day that you don't do this hard thing, you don't have this hard conversation, you're signaling to your brain that you don't matter enough to take care of. That you, as like, if you're your own protector, that you don't matter enough to even protect yourself. If you have plants or pets, you know you have to take care of them, or else they're going to die or get sick or be very sad. So you have to give some of that caretaking energy to yourself of like, okay, I know this is going to be tough. Like, you know, when you move houses, like your dog's maybe not going to like it, but you have to do the hard thing. So you do the hard thing for your pets, you got to do the hard thing for yourself. Because your brain isn't stupid. It knows what you're doing. It can see, you're with your brain like 24 hours a day. So it can see when you continuously put yourself in this harmful situation with this person who doesn't respect you. And it's like, oh, here she is again, showing up to this job, not asking for the raise, getting paid peanuts, eating shit from this boss. Boy, I guess we don't really matter very much. I guess we don't have very much value. And this is why I love the self-responsibility. I mean, you know, we're privileged to be able to make these kind of decisions for ourselves living in the West, but nevertheless, self-responsibility is, instead of saying, this person doesn't value me, it's looking at your own behavior and saying, every day that I don't show up and have this hard conversation, I don't value me. Why am I trying to blame the shitty boss? I don't value me enough to have this conversation. It's not their fault. I'm actually sending a signal to them that I don't matter because I'm not initiating this conversation. I can't expect people to show up around me perfectly trained in how to treat me. A lot of people are basically just big grown-up children. Like inside, they're still 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old. So I just lower my expectation of how other people are going to show up, and I say, okay, what can I do to make sure that I'm protected and I'm respected? And then I do it. I do it, even if it's hard, even if it takes me months. I give my brain the evidence that I matter in real time, in the real world, no matter how it goes. Because the brain isn't looking for a result so much as it's looking for my commitment to the result. Once it sees that evidence that I value myself, it's like, oh, well, if you really are that valuable, then I guess a couple things have to change around here. And that's when things start changing, like out of the blue. They fall from the sky. Provided evidence to your brain that you have value. And like Judge Judy, your brain needs evidence. It does, it needs evidence. I really recommend facing the final boss because your life is just going to get so much better if you can regularly face whatever final boss you have at that moment. And to go with the video game example, you know, when you fight bosses in video games, it's not always like hand-to-hand combat or like guns or, you know, direct attack. What are some other ways that you can fight bosses? You can use magic spells. You can go invisible. You can hide. You can fly over them. You can go super fast in like a rocket or something. There's so many different ways to fight final bosses. So it doesn't always have to be like telling someone off or something like that. Get really honest with yourself of like, okay, who or what is the final boss I need to confront? And then what is the best way to actually face this so that I can come out the other side with dignity and empathy for them and for me, but not leaving myself behind in the process. One other trick that is just absolutely shocking with final bosses, and I see it all the time in my life and I see it in the life of my clients and my students, which is, so that final boss, they're often standing in front of the thing that you want the most. They're right in front of the door to the thing that you want. Boss is here. And you don't see that door there. But when you slay the boss, suddenly that door opens and you can go inside. Like let's say a career opportunity. Like you've been pushing and knocking and it just feels like you're pounding on a mountain. Like there's just no door there. Because that's the side door. It's not a very good one. And the main channel through which you're going to have access to the thing that you want is often being blocked by the final boss that you know you need to face. So, face that final boss, because once you vanquish them, and once this is no longer an issue, very often I see them disappear and the door opens by itself. And the bigger the boss, the bigger the door. The more scary and momentous the slaying of that boss, the bigger the opportunity on the other side. And by the way, they don't need to be connected at all on the surface. That boss could be your romantic partner, and then the door that you've been trying to open is like finances, like more money. You're like, how could those possibly be related? But the thing that relates them is your self-worth. Your self-worth is the thing that they have in common, because your self-worth and your value for yourself is what's preventing you from having the hard conversation or maybe even leaving that partner, you know, whatever the hard thing is. And that's also what's preventing the money from coming in. So it's the same energy that you're running that comes down to self-worth and value. Like real value, not just fake BS, like, oh, no, I value myself. Like, yeah, but what does your subconscious think? So that's why moving that boss out of the way frees up the access to the resource that you want more of. Because when you move them out of the way, you're signaling to your brain and them and everyone around you, I deserve access to that resource because my value is high and I get what I want, so give me. In the best way possible.
The Vermilion podcast is sponsored by Vermilion, a home for artists. We offer classes, coaching, and community for creatives and innovators in the arts. If you're ready to find your voice and build the life of your dreams, we're here to support you every step of the way. Check out clubvermilion.com and schedule a free call today.